Alright guys, hello and welcome to a very special video where I'm going to tell you the 3 simple things that I did to get a first in my law degree at a Russell Group university. My name is Claire Rose Hanson and I make YouTube videos on a variety of topics, including student life, happiness, the gym, weightlifting, running, food and my cat. So if any of those interest you, then please do go check out my channel, it's linked down below. And this video is being made in collaboration with a website called The Student Lawyer, and it's www.thestudentlawyer.com, and they give a lot of really good advice about CV writing and also practice interviews, things like that, assessment centres. So that website is also linked down below and I really would recommend you go and check that out if you're interested. But without further ado, I'm going to tell you the 3 simple things that I did to get a first in my law degree from a Russell Group university. Number 1, this is probably the most important thing, and I would recommend this for everyone because I think you need to do this to get a first, and that is to go to the module leader for every module that you do and ask them, how do you specifically get a first for their module? And I'm saying this because I found that in my law degree at least, how to get a first varied from module to module and from marker to marker. So some modules would be like they wanted more analysis based, some would you could get away with just putting in loads of cases into your answers instead of analysis. Some would want an introduction set out one way, some would want it another way, some would want definitions, some wouldn't care about definitions. One of them even wanted pizzazz in his essays, and pizzazz is an attractive combination of vitality and glamour. Not quite sure why law essays need to have pizzazz, but that's what he wanted. And I think it's so important to know exactly how to get the marks for getting a first, because it doesn't matter how smart you are if you aren't getting those marks. You could be the smartest person in the world, but if you're not doing what they want to see, then you won't get a first. Equally, you could spend your time memorising hundreds of cases, but if you're not doing what the marker wants to see, that time could have been wasted and you won't get the mark that you want. And I get quite a lot of questions on my YouTube channel about how do I write an essay, especially how to structure an essay, and what do I do in an exam to get marks. And I think the best thing that you can do is to go to the module leader and find out for that specific module. Thing number 2 that I did to get a first in my law degree, this is kind of going to contradict number 1 a bit in going to the module leader, but I think this is something that did work for me in most of my modules. I'll tell you the exception afterwards. And this is something that I call the shove in as many as you can method. So it's shoving in as many articles or as many cases or whatever it is, as many books or as many references into your essays and your exam answers. There are some people out there who'll tell you that quality matters more in a law degree than quantity, but personally I got a first using quantity. I would just literally have a reference at the end of pretty much every sentence, and that's why I call it the shove in as many as you can method. I would shove in literally so many articles, so many cases into my essays, and I think this works to get a first because it shows wider research and wider knowledge. Even though I wouldn't have read all of those articles and all those cases, I would have probably just read the title and a little bit of the introduction and maybe a little bit of the conclusion as well. And the way I'd find most of these cases and articles, I would just use Google. Like say, if I was doing an essay that was, this case is outdated and I wanted to prove that point, I would just Google, this case is outdated, and see what articles come up. I think Google Scholar is also really helpful for that. Then I'll get that article and shove it into my essay, then get another one and shove it into my essay, and that is the shove in as many as you can method. Probably not what most lecturers want to hear, but that's what I did. Quick caveat, that won't work for all modules, which is why you need to go back to point 1 and ask the module leader what you need to do. So some modules which are more based on analysis, so they want you to do a lot more analysis to get a first, the shove in as many as you can method might not work. So for analysis, you're basically just going into more detail on cases and critiquing them. So if you're using the shove in as many as you can method, you won't have as much space left in your essay to do analysis, so you might not be able to get as many marks if the module is more heavily focused on analysis. And I'd also recommend practicing the shove in as many as you can method in practice essays or ones that aren't marked to see if you can get a first using this method, or if lecturers want you to do more the analysis approach. Personally, I find the shove in as many as you can method a lot more reliable than using analysis, because I knew that if I got a reference at pretty much the end of every sentence, then I could get a first, whereas if I used analysis, I never really knew if that analysis was good enough, and I didn't know if I'd get a first. So the shove in as many as you can method was what I used, but of course it will be up to you and what the module leader wants you to do. And number 3, the third thing that I did to get a first in my law degree, and this one is called the short-term memory method. So this one is more for exams, and I think it will be really useful for people who they're a day before an exam or maybe hours before an exam and they think, I can't possibly do anything else. I'm just gonna do so badly in this exam, I've messed up, this is it. And the short-term memory method is basically having faith in your short-term memory and realising that it's far stronger than you think it is. So if you're before an exam, let's say you've got an hour left before an exam, what I would do is I would keep reading through again and again my notes, and when I got in the exam I would find that I remembered most of those things from my notes. And I personally use this method because there's hundreds of cases to learn for law exams, and I don't think lawyers need to know those cases in practice, and personally I don't want to be a lawyer anyway. So relying on my short-term memory a lot more than my long-term memory meant that I cut out a lot of the time of memorising cases, just like doing mind maps or like flashcards or whatever. I didn't want to spend my time doing that. Therefore, on the mornings of my exams, I would wake up early and I would read through all my cases for like an hour or two, and I get them into short-term memory and I remember them in the exam. And then that would cut out a lot of the time that I would have otherwise had to have spent memorising them more thoroughly. Alright guys, so those are the 3 simple things that I did to get a first in my law degree from a Russell Group university. I know they are really simple, and maybe some of them are things that you won't have been told before, and they maybe go against the principles of a good student who'd be sat in their room memorising everything really thoroughly and reading every single article. But that's just not what I did, and I got a first. Once again, please do go check out my channel for any law related content, as well as fitness and food and my cat. And do go check out The Student Lawyer as well. Thank you very much to them for letting me make this video, and they are a really good website. And thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.